All right, y'all, so really quickly I'm gonna tell y'all kind of where we going really quickly and what's going on. So anyway, yesterday, in the midst of our little moment of trying to get excited about, you know, everything that's been going on with us, you know, trying to get prepared for the FET and stuff like that, I had texted my nurse, my RE nurse, because I was just like, well, not text her, but emailed her, because last week I had sent her, but yeah, last week she was just trying to give me an update about everything I need to get done, you know, before we start our FET. Well, she also said I need to sign consent forms. And I don't know if I mentioned before, but when I went in for my, what is that called? Histosonogram, I believe. When I went in for that, before I actually had any of my surgeries, he had mentioned, he was like, well, here's your consent, so we can go ahead and sign that, and you can bring it to your husband or whatever, and he can sign it, and then you can bring it back. So I was like, fine. So I get it or whatever, and I'm looking over and it says 1 embryo. And in our hearts, we, you know, probably some month, like it's probably like been way more months after, you know, the girls or whatever, that we really decide, okay, we're gonna go ahead and put 2. You know, at first it was like maybe 1, but we never told the doctor that. You know, when we had our little like start up again, whatever you call it, after you know, lose pregnancy or whatever, we had that, and basically he was like talking about like, yeah, maybe y'all should you know, only put 1 this time, you know, blah blah blah. He was like, I'm thinking 1. Well, that was just like a little conversation. We didn't agree to nothing, we didn't sign anything. So we in our hearts, like I said, we know we can't get our girls back, and it's not that we're trying to put 2 to get them back, but a lot of times when you put 2 or 3 or however many, not all of them stick. And our whole purpose last time was to, you know, put 2 to make sure we at least, you know, got 1. And so anyway, and both of them ended up taking. Long story short, so when I went in for my histosonogram, like I said, he handed me the paper, and when I seen 1, the nurse gave me the paper. She's like, Dr. Crochet said, go ahead and sign this. So when I got the paper and I seen 1, I told her, I said, oh no, I said, we're not putting 1, we're putting 2. You know, we've discussed between me and my husband, we've discussed that we want to go ahead and put 2. So she's like, well, let me go talk to Dr. Crochet real quick. So she went, I guess, talked to him. He comes back and he's like, no, we're not doing 2. And I'm like, what you mean we're not doing 2? He was like, no, I just wouldn't be able to sleep or whatever if I did 2. And I'm like, what does that have to do with you sleeping or whatever? Like, I'm going to get the tack, so that way, you know, like, even a woman that has 1 baby and her first time, even without IVF or with the IVF, you know, it's like, you know, they, same thing, incompetent service is not something that's just geared because, oh, I had 2, and then, you know, you can have 1 and still have that. So anyway, I cried right there. My friend was with me because my husband had to work, and, you know, I started crying because I'm like, number 1, it's been a very emotional year. You know, a lot has taken place. How dare you tell me, you know, as sensitive as this matter is, and tell me that, oh, I'm gonna do 1. So he was like, well, don't sign it yet. You know, clearly, you know, there's, you know, and I was like, well, my husband's gonna be very upset at this, you know. And I was talking about not the fact that, oh, because I'm agreeing to 1, but my husband's gonna be upset because me and him both agreed to 2, and now you're telling us that, oh, only 1. So I didn't sign it. I left it there or whatever. And so after I had all my surgeries and stuff like that, and I had my tack, and then I had my my polyp removal, you know, and stuff like that. Actually, with that, and I know I think I explained last time where they had to communicate because he wanted to do the surgery to remove the polyps, or what she thought was adhesions. But he wanted to remove that before he wanted to remove that before I got the tack. He was like, well, I don't know if I'm able to go in there, blah blah, you know, if y'all don't, I guess if y'all hadn't watched that video. So I had to have my tack doctor call him to persuade him to collaborate with my doctor, my tack doctor, because he was so adamant about, you know, doing this surgery first, because he figured, oh, I'm not gonna be able to get in there. So my tax surgeon was like, what, you know, like, what do you mean he's not gonna be able to get in there? Like, he will. Like, I'll talk with him so we can go ahead and get this done, because we already, you know, made plans to be off. We couldn't be taking all them days off, and they don't understand it. And we don't have money like they wanted up front, this money that we had already planned to put towards the tax, and it was like, no, we don't have that. And so after they talked or whatever, you know, he went ahead and, you know, did all of that. And so when he went in to do his procedure, he was like, oh, there was enough room for me to, you know, do whatever I had to do. Like, I'm very impressed and blah, blah, blah. And it just goes to show you that sometimes, you know, what you have planned maybe, you know, not as well, you know, like he wanted to do that first because he thought it was just so much, and it's like, you know, you collaborated with the doctor and this and that. Well, the doctor also told me that he's very comfortable with me putting 2 embryos in. He was like, yeah, he was like, number one, you got the tag, it holds anything. He was like, and if for some reason, you know, if you had any other problems, then I would say, you know, maybe 1 or whatever. He was like, but no, because during my pregnancy I had no problems, none. I had one little scare about my you know, my sugar, my diabetes and so forth, but that was because just before I went to my appointment for them to draw blood, I actually had eaten a sausage biscuit with jelly, and we all know, you know, bread turns into sugar, and the jelly, of course, that's sugar right then and there. So anyway, you know, when I did it over, they was like, we just do it over because, you know, you didn't know that, you know, that's what caused this net. So I ate a healthier breakfast the next day or the next time I went, and it was normal, you know. So I didn't have no issues, no problems whatsoever with my whole pregnancy, none. I just had nausea. I didn't even throw up. I wasn't a puker. I wasn't doing none of that. I threw up maybe one time in the beginning when I had drank too much of this protein shake or whatever, and then that was it. Besides when I was, you know, about to go into labor and stuff like that, when I was having contractions, I was kind of throwing up, you know, and I had that infection from the stitch, you know, and stuff like that. So anyway, long story short, I got a message from, well, when I went in for my post-op, he didn't really mention anything about, he didn't say anything about the consent form, the transfer, nothing. That he was like, everything went well, this is how it look, blah blah. Which my thing is, you know, like, I'm so tired of taking off. Like, that could have been discussed over the phone by the nurse, you know. You could have emailed me the pictures. I mean, it's just some things that I felt like I went all the way there, took off for work, 2 hours, you know, not 2 hour drive, but 1 hour there, 1 hour back, just to go there, blah blah blah. So it was just like, really. So anyway, yesterday I'm, you know, celebrating Sunshine's victory or whatever, and, you know, about, you know, her twins or whatever. And so I'm sitting here like, okay, I'm celebrating, having, you know, enjoying this time. I'm celebrating with her, and, you know, me and my husband talking about, oh my gosh, you know, we're next and blah blah blah. And all of a sudden I had texted her, and I was just like, hey, anything about the consent forms? And she goes, well, oh, she was like, I didn't get a chance to do that last week. I wrote down for me to do this today or whatever, or something like that. So I'm just like, okay, you know, I'm not trying to prolong, and they know I'm very proactive. They know that I'm very, 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 very proactive with everything. You know, I like to cross my T's, dot my I's. I like to do all of that. So anyway, so then she hit me back. I mean, my email said, wanted to check up on the consent info we talked about. I have it down to review with him again today, as I did not get to last week. Will follow up as soon as I can. Thank you. So the next one, I said, thanks so much. So she goes, hello. She said, you may need to schedule a consult with Dr. Crochet in moving forward, as he will not transfer more than 1 embryo. So that moment there, I hit up my husband. I'm telling him, because I've never thought that, you know, we didn't sign anything pertaining to the doctor having the right to tell me how many embryos we can have or transfer or whatever. And so anyway, I was just kind of like, what? And it kind of really hit me, because I was at a moment of celebrating, and, like, you know, like I said, I was just in that moment of just happiness at that one little moment, and then bam, just all crushed, you know. And so then I said, so I wrote her back, and I said, that isn't fair. I said, there isn't anything that we signed that said if we lost a child that we couldn't transfer to again. I said, we pay too much to be told we can't transfer at our age 2 embryos. I said, is he available? So I said, is he available Thursday morning? I said, we don't have days that we can take off. I said, last year was smooth and joyful, and this has just ruined my day. I said, we've been with Corm for over 6 years, and now being told that we can't, being told what we can do moving forward, like being told what we can do, you know. And I said, thanks. And I said, can you show me any forms that I signed saying this before I move forward with other options? I said, thanks. So she said, LaQuisha, I've included the scheduler basically to assist in getting you set up with Dr. Crochet ASAP. I understand that you are upset, and we will assist you in getting scheduled with him as soon as possible. I am not sure what form you are inquiring about. The only forms you sign are the IVF and FET consent and any financial contracts. These are signed amongst you, your spouse, and the physician, declaring a collaboration decision or collaborative decision. Your frozen embryo transfer consents have not been signed by any party at this point in time. Sincerely. So basically, she just kind of not understood what I meant. Basically, I was asking her if there was any forms that I had signed that said that we could not transfer, you know, 2 embryos. You know, because I know there's some clinics that actually have certain, you know, rules where at certain ages or whatever the case may be, they can transfer 1. I don't know, but like I said, we've never talked about or even mentioned. First of all, we lose out on money, so therefore I'm gonna let them know when it comes times to, you know, be paying money on where to take off, so we can't even afford that. Where to take off, just come sign some doggone paper that could not be sent to us via email or fax, so I can sign that paper to say, hey, regardless of what you feel or whatever you think, it's still our decision and we want to transfer too. So now we gotta go miss out on work, you know, and this is time that, you know, we ain't getting back, you know. It ain't like, you know, I mean, like, anybody have time to be trying to make up time, and I don't have days where I can just take off, you know. I don't have that. I've took off days with my surgery. I've took off days with both surgeries, you know. I don't even have days to take off with my son to go to his school for different things, you know, because of this. And so it's a headache. So anyway, you know, my husband, you know, he, you know, calm me down somewhat. Sunshine was trying to calm me down. Nikki was trying to calm me down. And another one of my friends was trying to calm me down. She y'all don't know, she's not she don't video her journey or whatever, but she's on the FET journey as well, and she stays in Houston. But I had texted all 3 of them, and I was like, look, y'all, I was like, this some bullcorn. I was like, it's some BS. And they was like, everybody was telling me to calm. Every single one of y'all told me to calm down. Don't be telling me to calm down. Shoot. They was like, calm down. Sunshine was being mommy. She was being the mama. She was like, okay, so this is what we gonna do. And then Nikki was kind of being like, I guess Nikki and the other, they were being like big sisters type deal. Like, well, let's just see, you know, we're going first, you know. And Nikki was like, you know, we're gonna pray about it and, you know, trust and believe. And, you know, when you're going through stuff, you know, you don't follow that. You know, you don't be wanting to follow that, you know, like when you know better, but you don't want to follow that. You know, you be kind of like, you know, you want what you want, when you want it, how you want it, where you want it, and stuff like that, right? So anyway, that's what happened yesterday. That was, what's today's date? Today is what's today's date? What's today?
Today's the 8th.
The 8th. There we go. The 8th. So today's the 8th, and I mean, I slept, I guess, pretty well. Made to go do this mess with them. I'm let the doctor know. I'm like, you know, you starting turmoil. You know, like this right here is just a hot mess. Hotmess.com. And I told my husband, I said, I'm just gonna go in there. I think I'm gonna sit down and be quiet. I think I'm gonna keep my mouth shut for a minute, because I feel like if I open my mouth right now, it's gonna be too much. I know how I am, and I know I need time to listen to what him and my husband are talking about, seeing how defensive the doctor is, seeing how persuasive my husband is. And I think that before I say anything or anything bad comes out my mouth, I need to just kind of be quiet, because I feel like last year he was more sensitive than this year, which makes no sense, because I feel like this year should have been more delicate, you know, handled a little bit more delicately, and to, you know, just kind of like, okay, they want to transfer too, we're not going to argue with them, you know, they went through so much, blah, blah, blah. I just feel like you need to be a little bit more sensitive. I feel like, you know, it should be a little bit more of a sensitive subject than, no, we're not transferring more than one. I don't care how you feel, you know. That's basically how it seems, you know. And like I said, we've been through too much for you to be telling me You know, and I want to know what your reasons are. You know, what is your reasons? Because somebody can be carrying one and still go through income service. What you gonna do? Tell them they can't put a baby in after that? Like, how does that make sense? You know, like, what are your factors? Because you can't sleep at night? Well, I'm not gonna be able to sleep at night either, because I'm paying you money and I can't get what I want. So that's the way I feel, you know. So that's my rant for right now. I don't know how it's gonna all turn out. Hopefully, you know, it goes better than I foresee it to be, you know. So hopefully it ends positive and not negatively, you know. Emotionally, I feel like I can't take any more, you know, negativity. I can't take any more, you know, tell me what I can't have, you know, like, you know what I mean? So I got 14 babies in the refrigerator, in a nursery, in a cold nursery, and I, you know, I want to have, you know, 2 others. It's enough that I'm, you know, not gonna have the others. You know, I feel some type of way about that, you know, which, you know, I know I can't do anything about that because I know that they're there. So it's like, oh. So anyway, I'm just really hoping that this go well. And I'm hoping that I have, you know, a better attitude once we leave, and I have a better video once we come back in the car about this or whatever. So that's my little rant, and I'll have the rest later.